Hello students, this video is going to be about the very basics of adding calculations into Microsoft Excel. I have done a previous very short video as an introduction to the way Excel looks, but if you haven't seen that, you might want to go and have a look at it because we will be referring to some things from that video. So let's say for today I have two numbers. I have the number 10 and I have the number 5. I'm putting those into A3 and into B3. And what I'd like to do is do each of the four basic operations on those numbers. So I want to do an addition. So I'm going to put these in as text. Addition, underneath that subtraction, division, and multiplication. So they're obviously the four basic operations. So for us to do that, we're going to put in a calculation or a formula. So we do that into a cell, and I'm going to begin that by typing the equal sign. Typing the equal sign in at the start tells Excel that what's coming is a calculation that needs to be solved. Sorry about that ding. So it's a calculation that is going to need to be solved, and we're going to want to see the answer displayed in our spreadsheet. So I could come in here and write 10 plus 5, and if I press enter, you'll see that I do in fact get an answer. If I click back on that cell and I look at my equation up the top here, it is still 10 plus 5, but I'm seeing the result shown in my cell. But that is not a very efficient way to do this. What I really want to do is refer to these numbers over here in A3 and B3 so that if I change those numbers later, my formulas and my calculations will get updated again. So let's have a look at how we actually do that. So again, I am still going to begin with the equals sign to tell spreadsheet that I'm doing a calculation. And instead of typing the number 10 and the number 5, I'm going to refer to those cells. So this is a little bit like using a variable that we've talked about most likely in a programming class that we've had. If you haven't done that sort of thing, it might be a little bit new. But basically, we're going to reference the cell. So to reference a cell, I need to put its location, which in this case is A3. So you can see how the box has gone around A3 to say, yep, I'm going to take the value inside that cell. Now I put the plus sign, and I'm going to type B5. Sorry, not B5, what am I saying? B3, my apologies. And you can see it has highlighted that as well. If I press enter, I now have my result. And that will work. So again, if I look at the cell, the actual equation up the top here is still A3 plus B3, but it's giving me the answer of 15. So now if I was to change that, let's say instead of 5 in B3 I had 10, I would expect the answer now to be 20. When I press the button, of course, it updates. And that is where the power of a spreadsheet starts to come in. When you change a value, all your formulas and calculations can automatically update themselves. Let's have a look at a subtraction. So again, I'm going to start with an equals. But instead of typing A3 and B3, I'm going to click on it this time to make it a little bit quicker. So instead of having to type the cell location, I can simply click on that location. So you can see it added the A3 in for me. I still need to type or press the subtraction button, and I can now click on the second part of my equation and then press enter to get my result. Let's do division. What do you think I'm going to press first? Yep, the equals key. Now, I want to divide 10 by 5, so I'm going to click on that one. Now, some people might not realize, but we generally don't have a division symbol, the little line with the dot above and below, when we work with computers. We usually use the / to represent division. Think of it a little bit like a fraction. Now, sometimes you can find a key combination that does things as well, but to be clear, this will always work. Whereas other specialty things, I guess, depend sometimes on the computer you're using. So I encourage you just to get familiar with the / being the division symbol on your computer. So A3 divided by B3, the value of A3 divided by the value of B3. If I press enter, I get what I expect, the value 2. And in a similar way, multiplication equals A3. Now multiplication on a computer is the asterisk symbol, not an X. An X is a letter X. multiplication is the asterisk symbol. So multiplication by B3, and of course we expect to have 50. And like before, if I was to change any of these values, you can see all my calculations have updated. But they still have, if I look at them, the formula listed in there. Okay, it's showing the result, but the formula or the calculation is what's actually in the cell. So that is a very, very brief introduction to how you can put in a calculation and also how you reference cells in those calculations using a product like Excel.